Scope is part of the Integrated Awareness Programme, Discover Science and Engineering.
That's travelling at 300 kilometres an hour. If you want to know where it's coming from and where it's going to, you better stick around.
And don't worry, there'll be another one along in a minute. Hello and welcome to what is sadly the final scope of the series.
But we've decided to go out with a bang by travelling all the way to the future.
Well, we haven't found a time machine just yet, so we've come all the way here to Tokyo.
This amazing city of people, traffic, noise and neon is 9 hours ahead of Ireland on the clock, but years ahead when it comes to technology.
And we're going to track down the best of it.
Coming up in the next futuristic half hour, we find out what your house will look like in 2010.
An alternative vision of the future from Dr. Rocks.
And a rising star gets reunited with his Transformers in another blast from the past.
There'll be loads more interesting stuff like that coming up on tonight's show, and at the very end we'll be asking you the final scope question.
As always, the answer will be somewhere in the programme, so listen very carefully and you could win yourself an iPod Shuffle.
Right, let's go exploring.
Okay.
My favourite gadget at the moment is I've just bought a TomTom navigation system for my car.
I actually got one of them camcorders, you know, the ones that have the DVD inside them.
I'd love to have, what's those, watch Darth Vader's I'd like to have a lightsaber.
Okay, I have a proposition for you.
Yes.
We're in Tokyo, the high-tech capital of the world, right? So why not have a contest?
Go on.
We both go out, find the coolest, most futuristic gadgets here, come back at the end of the show, compare results, and then have a winner.
Okay, I'm up for it, but you haven't a chance.
That statement just belies your inexperience, Katrina.
Whatever. This is Akihabara, the part of Tokyo famous for its electronic shops. If it's high-tech gadgets you're after, this is the place. But there are hundreds, if not thousands of shops, so how do you know where to start? Personally, I find a bit of local knowledge always helps.
Paul Gilsonen, a manufacturing engineer from Clontarf in Dublin, has been living in Japan since 2001. He first came here as part of the FOSS Overseas Graduate Programme. The programme set Paul up with a job and even got him started with his Japanese.
Paul, this place is amazing. Is it really as high-tech as we think it is back home?
Put it like this, if you get on a train here today, you'll have people playing with computers, games, using their phone as an MP3 player.
So everyone has some bit of gadgetry attached to them.
Yeah, pretty much. Most of my friends now will be buying the latest of everything when it's launched. 4 months later, when the next version's out, that's in the bin or given to me and they buy the new one.
Don and myself are having a little challenge where we're trying to find the coolest gadget in Tokyo. Any tips for me?
Well, if you start walking from here and check out a couple of these stores in this area, you're going to find some very, very interesting stuff.
Well, I'm going to start hitting the streets and looking for my gadget.
Don't forget your umbrella.
I won't.
Okay.
Right, I think I found the first contender for the best gadget. This is an e-book or electronic book. Now, electronic books were once touted as the books of the future, but they didn't really take off because the display quality was rubbish and it felt more like reading a computer screen than reading a book. But this new e-book has changed all that because the quality looks just like real paper, and it's all thanks to something called e-ink. And one final point is that you might notice that the book cover closes like this. This is because Japanese people read from right to left. Now, where's my Japanese-English dictionary?
So, how are you getting on?
Good, yeah. Found my first contender.
Well, I have a few tricks up my sleeve too.
Okay.
But right now it's time for an old gadget and for the star who asked to be reunited with it.
It's a blast from the past.
Howdo, I'm Pinky, and I would like to be reunited with my Transformers.
She's so smooth easy, better be careful, cause you can't tell. She'll bring your body to heaven, but she'll send your mind to hell.
You asked for it, Pinky. Here it is, your Transformers. It's a blast from the past.
Sweet.
Ta-da!
Man, that is totally sweet. Oh, yeah.
What do they do?
Transformers were, as everyone will know, cars that turned into robots.
So they were Transformers, robots in disguise. And where did they come from?
Cybertron.
Cybertron. Right, and in the real world, where did they come from?
They originated in Japan.
And how many of these did you have?
When I was a child, I used to like having the full set of things. So I had quite a few, I'd have to say, yeah. I just knew that I wanted them, and I'd cry if I didn't get them.
So I'm going to challenge you to a Transformer duel.
A duel, is it?
You can have the girly helicopter.
Very well.
Ready?
1, 2, 3, go.
You're just showing off now.
In the time it took you to
But
take it
wheel.
the arm. Brilliant.
Okay, well and truly beaten by the Transformer geek. I'm impressed.
There's no need for name calling.
I'm only joking. So would you like to be reunited with these forever and go home and play with them?
If possible, I would love that.
You're more than welcome to your Transformers.
Sound.
Thanks,
Sweet
Neil.
deal. Thank you.
Smooth from where you fell. All the tricks get easier. She knows you all too well.
And that's the end of that chapter.
If this guy looks familiar, that's because you might have seen him when he dropped into the Young Scientist exhibition in Dublin last year, where he granted me an exclusive interview for Scope. Are you enjoying yourself?
Oh, yes, definitely.
His name is Asimo, he's a robot, and he's designed by Japanese company Honda. And this is his current home, the National Museum of Emerging Science and Innovation. And seeing as I was in the area, I thought I'd call in and say hello to my old friend. In the 1950s and 60s, robots were the stuff of science fiction. But for the last few decades, they've become a reality. Robot design has actually helped us humans to understand ourselves a bit better. For example, it was only when engineers tried to teach robots to walk, without much success at first, that they realized how complex walking actually is. And you thought it was just putting one foot in front of the other. You can't buy Asimo and his buddies here at the museum. They're prototypes used for robotics research. But here in Japan, robots are moving from the lab into the high street, so I'm gonna do a bit of shopping. Hey, look at this. A whole shop dedicated to robots. Meet Robo Novo 1. Retails at about €600. You can do like loads of different things. Let me just show you some of the stuff. I like this one in particular. She's kind of like a bit of a ninja robot. They've got amazing control, amazing balance. Watch this. Like this wasn't possible with millions of pounds of technology, 5, 10 years ago. Now you can buy these in little packs you just put together yourself. Seeing as he can't speak, let's get him to do one final move. You're coming with me. These are some of the most popular robots in Japan. They're called companion robots. There's not that much space here in Japan for having pets, for dogs and for cats, being able to have big gardens and that. So you can have one of these little Hello Kitty robots here who can talk to you, who can recognize your voice. Konnichiwa. She said I'm a great guy, and she's really glad that I came over here from Ireland to meet her, so, she's pretty good. There's 2 little cameras in the eyes here, so if you have a family, you can actually program it so it can recognize each of the members of the family. So if you have maybe a baby, this can recognize that it is a baby, and it'll program itself to speak baby talk and kind of keep the baby entertained. So I just have to say goodbye now. Sayonara. I presume she's saying, oh no, don't leave now. Gotta go, I'm afraid. At the moment, you can find robots doing everything from the very useful to the completely daft. But I tell you one thing, they are here to stay. So you better start thinking what you want your robot to do. You agree? This is some country, but back in Ireland, we're not exactly living in the dark ages either. And if there's anything interesting happening in the high-tech front, we don't need a robot to sniff it out, because we've got our Katrina.
We may think of Japan as the home of innovations, but one of the greatest innovators of them all wasn't Japanese. He was a Scot, Alexander Graham Bell.
On March 10th, 1876, Bell said the words, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want you." It was the first ever telephone call, and it was made using a machine very like this one. Alexander Graham Bell went on to invent many more things. The vinyl record, for example. But his greatest legacy is the company he left behind, Bell Laboratories.
Here in the Bell Telephone Laboratories, we can see a finished cell being tested.
For the past 80 years, Bell Labs has been following the example set by Alexander, inventing some of the most important bits of technology in the modern world. For example, light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. That's laser to you and me, beloved by sci-fi movie directors everywhere, but far more likely to be seen in your CD player or checkout scanner. Or transistors, without which we'd have no computers, iPods, video games, or camcorders. And Telstar, the first communication satellite that gave us live transatlantic TV.
And here are the inventors making a test of their newly harnessed power to operate a small radio transmitter.
Inventors from Bell Labs have won 9 Nobel Prizes between them. So where do they go looking for the latest batch of innovators? Ireland, of course. So Grace, what are you working on here?
We're working here on the cooling of electronic equipment. There's some electronic components on the board, and these get quite hot during operation.
And what happens when they get overheated?
They don't work properly if they get too hot.
A bit like humans.
Exactly.
So what are you doing to solve that?
Well, we're using a new material called nanograss, and each blade is about 250 nanometers wide. One strand of hair is 100,000 nanometers wide.
Ow. So that is 100,000 nanometers.
Yeah.
And a blade of nanograss is 250 nanometers. So it's completely minty.
Exactly.
So how does the nanograss actually work?
Well, if we look at an image of a droplet of water on ordinary silicon under a microscope and compare it with nanograss, I'll be able to show you. You can see that the water is sticking to the surface.
Yeah.
When you put a droplet of water on the surface of nanograss, the water doesn't like the nanograss very much, so it tends to ball up into a droplet like that.
Yeah.
So actually there's very little of the water touching the surface, which means that it can kind of roll across the surface very easily.
Can you show me?
I can.
Oh wow, it just rolls right off it. So how can this be used to stop a computer from overheating?
Well, if the nanograss was in the areas that are hot, that means that you can push cooling fluid around that area very easily, and you can just cool those spots, whereas you don't have to cool the rest of the board with a big fan.
So this means that the whole thing about computers getting smaller and faster can continue?
Exactly.
They say the average home contains at least 25 products that originated at Bell Labs. So keep a close eye on your next cool gadget. It might have started life right here in Dublin. There you are.
There I am.
What are you up to?
I am looking at the next contender in the Scope Gadget Challenge. You know, away in Ireland, we're all mad about our mobile phones. Well, here, they are crazy.
I have noticed.
They call them KTI, which means handy. But check this out. Once I pull up this little aerial here, might look a bit funny to you and me, but this is now receiving live TV images.
No way.
This is a television.
Is that TV that you downloaded before you left your house?
No. Did you not hear me? This is live. This is what the aerial is for.
So can you flip through the channels?
Yeah. This particular one is 12 channels that you can go to.
You've got the whole world in your pocket.
The whole world in your hands. KTI, handy. Everything I want, close at hand.
Good gadget, Donnan.
Now, pay attention to the next bit, because Katrina caught up with a piece of Japanese technology that doesn't exactly hang around. In fact, if you blink, you might miss it.
If this amazing machine looks familiar, that's because it's one of Japan's most famous inventions, the Shinkansen, otherwise known as the bullet train.
Japan launched the world's first high-speed trains almost 40 years ago. Today's Shinkansens zip along at over 300 kilometers per hour.
This is the Shinkansen station in Yokohama between Tokyo and Osaka, two of Japan's biggest cities. The 400-kilometer journey can be covered in 2 hours and 30 minutes, and the trains are 400 meters long, so the platform has to be pretty long to accommodate them. There's no, "Can you please move forward to the front of the train so you can safely alight at the platform?" in this place.
At least 6 Shinkansen trains run between Tokyo and Osaka every hour, arriving on average within 6 seconds of the scheduled time. Now that's efficient.
The next chapter in the Shinkansen story is the most exciting one yet. A train that can travel the 400-kilometre journey from Tokyo to Osaka in just 1 hour. To go that fast, you have to travel at 500 kilometres an hour, a speed that is impossible with current train technology. So the Japanese have invented a train that doesn't sit on the tracks, but floats above them.
The latest bullet trains are powered by magnetic levitation, or maglev for short. Using electromagnets, these trains can hover above the tracks, totally eliminating friction. And one has already reached a world record speed of 581 kilometres per hour.
A maglev train running between Dublin and Cork would do the trip in about a half an hour, but I can't see that happening anytime soon. So, if you'll excuse me, I have a train to catch. Enjoy Dr. Rocks, and I'll see you back in Tokyo with some stuff that'll change your life.
It's time to drop science that's top class in the house with me, Dr. Aidan Rocks, and my assistant Pascal. In the house. Yo-yo science posse, or hello. Pascal and I are here in the house, not of today, but of tomorrow, as we take a look at the kitchen of the future. Yeah, that's backwards, Pascal. Not to worry. No more wondering what to have for dinner. The computerized kitchen of the future will know what food it has and suggest meal options.
What will I have for dinner?
Your kitchen suggests a healthy salad.
I don't like salad.
How about a sandwich then?
I don't want a sandwich.
Well, what do you feel like?
Rice Krispies multigrain.
There's Rice Krispies multigrain in the press. Not this press! The fridge of the future will automatically monitor its contents and order more via the internet when necessary.
Hello, Dr. Rocks.
I am from the local shop and you are about to run out of milk.
Thank you, Dr. Rocks.
Even your spoon will be able to tell if your milk is fresh.
Milk is fresh.
Unfortunately, as gadgets become more intelligent, the people who operate them, they'll just stay the same.
Technology is everywhere in Japan, and I mean everywhere. One of the first things you notice is a collection of funny-looking buttons next to the loo. So what's the story behind this functional technology? Well, our man in Japan decided to get to the bottom of it, and guess who he took along as his sidekick?
Donnan, I can't believe we came all the way to Japan to look for the gadgets of tomorrow, and you've brought me to a toilet showroom.
But is there a more important device in the household? I think we have been neglecting the humble WC for far too long. It's time to take a leaf out of the Japanese book. Come on. Well, first things first. In Japan, these are not called toilets, they're called washlets. This is a very basic washlet model. It's a very popular seller. If you'd like me to take you through some of the features.
You're loving this, aren't you?
Yes, loving it.
Okay, what do these buttons do?
This is for bidet, sort of washing your behind.
And this musical note here?
Press it and I'll explain it to you. You might get it. We have the audio sound, the audio equivalent of flushing a toilet for the shyer lady among you.
Who don't want to be heard tinkling away.
Absolutely.
So you press this first and then no one can hear you weeing.
Yes, exactly. We've also got a volume control, okay. So if you're going on for quite a while, you can really max it up there with the plus sign. Walk this way, madame. You are now looking at the Rolls-Royce Deluxe. If you'd like to step towards the washlet.
Oh,
impressive, eh? As you can see, there is a sensor on the washlet and the lid will automatically rise if you're about to approach to do number one. This can play music for you. You hear?
Yes, I do.
Not only does it play the music, but you can actually remove the card here and download onto that your own choice of music. So as you're sitting there doing your business, you can be listening to the rock tunes of the day.
Okay, I am very impressed.
This also comes in mahogany.
Okay.
So what do you think? Washlets. Certainly they must be worthy of your consideration for a top high-tech gadget.
Yes, Donnan, your powers of persuasion have worked. I'm sold.
Konnichiwa, Jennifer Moore と申します。アイランドから来ました。どうぞよろしくお願いします。東京にようこそ。Hi, my name is Jennifer Moore. I'm from Kilkenny in Ireland. I'm 25 years old, and welcome to Tokyo. This is where I work. This is Fujikin's office in Akihabara Electric Town. Come on in, we have a look around. Fujikin are a company that make valves and fittings for the semiconductor and pharmaceutical industries. My job title is customer engineer, and I've been here about 1 year and 5 months at this stage. I have 3 older brothers, and they're all engineers. My father's an electrician, so I decided to go for engineering as a good career option, and also the fact that my brothers can always help me if I get into a spot of bother. Originally, I chose computer engineering in the University of Limerick, and after a couple of years, I heard about a program that was being run by FOSS overseas. The idea of the FOSS overseas program was that you go abroad, you get your international experience, you learn another language, see another culture, and then you come back to Ireland and work for Irish companies. So I said, why not do something completely different and go to a country like Japan? We had 6 weeks language and culture training up in DCU. Japanese language is incredibly complicated when it comes to politeness and manners. FCS の説明してください. 14 of us came to Japan, and 4 of us came to this factory. There's myself and 3 other male colleagues. We've been able to help each other through learning the language, learning the customs and routines, and also if I don't know a word in Japanese, they'll know it, and we kind of rebound off each other, you know, and help each other out a lot of the time. When I'm not working, this is where I like to come. I originally started kickboxing back in Ireland, and I haven't had a chance to start it up again until I came to Japan, where I found the gym here, which is pretty multicultural. It has everyone from Americans, Australians, Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, everyone, and now Irish. If you want a challenge, this is the place to go, definitely. Japan has an extremely unique culture. If you can master the language, there's a lot of opportunity out here for every kind of individual. That's it from me for now. Sayonara.
You know, Japan is much more than just crowded streets and neon lights. But unfortunately, with all the technology, we just don't have time to see it. New background, please. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. This is the Panasonic Centre, where one of Japan's electronic giants shows off its gadgets of tomorrow. It's just too good to miss. Okay, this is a demonstration of how digital technology can be used for the home security system.
Tell me all about it.
Okay, you have to picture the scene. I'm at home, I'm watching a Japanese pop concert on my telly.
Yeah, of course.
And you call to the door. And then, lo and behold, up pops your face on my TV screen, and then I just press this button.
Oh, brilliant. I like it.
Welcome to my house.
This is a great gaff.
I didn't even have to get up off my couch.
I know, it suits you perfectly.
And the other cool thing is that if I'm a single lady living at home on my own, a bit conscious of security, go back to the door there and I'll show you.
Hello, is Katrina? Excuse me?
Hello, Stas.
Is Katrina there? Very big, strong sounding man in there. I think I'll go away. Check this out. No hands.
Nice wheels.
This is how wireless technology can help you monitor your house when you're not there. So, for example, in your car, I can see if there's intruders in the house.
Really?
So basically, you can have like little webcams in rooms in your house.
Yeah.
So I can actually connect to those cameras, and there you are on my left top corner screen there. Yeah, look. Who is that?
Can you see me stealing your stuff?
You're nicked, mate. Where do you want to go? The future. Okay, it's decision time. Who has found the most impressive high-tech gadget? I want your nomination.
I loved the ebook, but I'm going to have to go with the Shinkansen.
Okay, and for me, for pure fun, I'd definitely have to say the mobiles, But good technology is all about usefulness and functionality. So I'm going to have to say...
The washlet! Donna, you're a man of simple tastes. So how are we going to do it? The Shinkansen versus the washlet, how are we going to pick a winner?
Well, seeing as we are in Japan, let's just call it an honourable draw, Katrina-san.
OK, Donaldson.
That's all from this week's Scope here in Japan, and sadly, it's also the end of the series. Can you believe it?
No, we've had an absolute blast making it. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and thanks a million for tuning in.
It's also your last chance to win a fantastic iPod Shuffle, which is a cool gadget even by Japanese standards. All you got to do is answer the Scope question, so here it is.
How fast can the maglev bullet train go? 381, 481 or 581 kilometres per hour?
If you think you know the answer, visit science.ie now or text Scope followed by your answer to 086 868 0002.
And remember, there's loads more information about everything on tonight's programme on our website, rte.ie/tv/scope.
So, all that's left to be said is sayonara!
Scope is part of the Integrated Awareness Programme, Discover Science and Engineering.
And the winner of last week's Scope competition is Dara Fitzgerald from Limerick.